number one reason, without question, as to why you are not where you want to be right now is because you don't believe that you are worthy of it. You don't believe that you're capable of it. You don't believe that you deserve to be there. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Today I'm going to address the statement that I just made, and I'm going to give you some strategies and some tips to help you crush those self limiting beliefs, those fears, and those doubts that you have, that I've had, that the whole world has. You are not alone in this, okay? And I want you to understand that if you believe something to be true right now, okay, I want you to think about this. If you believe something to be true right now because of stories that you've been telling yourself for so long that you don't even remember when you started telling those stories to yourself, I want you to think about the possibility of what it could look like if you started telling yourself a different story today. What would your belief system look like if you started to tell yourself a different story? That's exactly what we're going to cover today in this episode of the W2 Prison Break Show. Let's break down what a self limiting belief is. And in the easiest form, now this is not out of the dictionary, but this is how I interpret a self limiting belief is it's a doubt. It's a fear. It's fear showing up. And you tell yourself things like, hey, I'm too old or too young to do that. I don't have enough knowledge. I don't have enough skill. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. It's usually I don't or I am not. Those words coming out of your mouth, you have to watch that and be careful of it. And we can tell ourselves a different story because that story that you tell yourself, or that maybe other people are telling you or have been telling you since you were young, that becomes your belief system, your download, and it's operating subconsciously and it's been operating for a very, very long time. And as soon as you get to the point where you want to try something new, maybe you have an awesome idea for a business, maybe you're really, really excited about it. And then all of a sudden, those stories that you've been telling yourself, your download, your internal operating system, it takes over and you discount the idea without even considering it because of your belief system. So we have to change that. And I'm going to give you 6 strategies that you can use to help tell yourself a different story, right? Because that's what we're trying to do. What blocks us is us. So we have to change us internally. We have to change our download. We have to change our operating system. And then we can make some breakthroughs and get to the point where we're doing the business. And it doesn't make any difference how old we are. It doesn't make any difference how much money we have right now. It doesn't make any difference what our skill level is or what we think it is. So the first step that I want you to take is I want you to get everything that you believe to be true out on paper. What are the things that you tell yourself? It's very important to get these things written down because it's going to, number one, externalize that they're not inside of you. You're not telling yourself this. So get them out on paper. And you're going to read some of these stories that you've been telling yourself, and maybe you'll already see how unfounded they truly are. Like, do I really believe that? Which is step 2, which is to actually analyze, critique, determine if any of this is true and where is it coming from? Is it coming from fear? Is it coming from something that happened to you in the past? Maybe some failures that you've been carrying around with you? You've been adding them to your big sack of stuff that you've been carrying with you for your entire life. And it's so heavy now that you're just stuck and you can't move because you got all this stuff you got to let go of. Do you have that sack? I used to have it. I had it for a long time. I wasn't willing to let go. Look for external help here as well. Go to outside sources, go to people that you know and ask them, hey, these are my beliefs. Show it to them. This is what I believe. What are your thoughts? They'll probably tell you that it's unfounded. Like, this is ridiculous. I don't see that in you. You're not too old. You're not too young. You're actually really smart. Seek it from other people. Okay. Very important. Step number 3 is really the start of telling ourselves a different story. And that's to use affirmations, positive affirmations. Instead of I can't, or I'm not, it's like I can and I will. One of my favorite quote that I've used to this day. I say it to myself all the time. And I got it from the book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, is I am just as worthy, deserving, and capable of achieving my ideal outcome as anybody on this planet. And I will prove that today with my actions. You can make all kinds of I am statements or positive affirmations, and that will start to reframe your thinking and you'll start crafting a new story. That takes time, it takes consistency, but you can start right away. It's the easiest thing to do is to use different words. Okay, the fourth step is to focus on your strengths. Start telling yourself what you're good at or give yourself credit for what you're good at. Instead of focusing on all the things that you can't do or that you're not worthy of, start looking again, internalize and then externalize it, get it on paper, write it out. Hey, these are the things that I'm really good at. Ask other people the same thing. Like, hey, what do you think I'm really good at? What would you say would be something that I'm awesome at? Right. And here's another way to look at that is what are people asking you for help with repeatedly, whether it's in your personal life or whether it's at your W 2 job? What are they asking you to help them with repeatedly? That is a signal that you are good at this particular thing. Right? And it's probably multiple things. So focus on your strengths. Very important. This is going to build up your self esteem. You're going to start talking to yourself differently. And again, we're reframing and we're changing our internal operating system, which we all have. Every human being has an internal operating system based on a set of beliefs and values that we've probably been carrying around since we were a little kid. Okay. And you have the power to change that. We all do. Tip number 5 is to make sure that you're giving yourself grace, practice some self compassion. I want you to think about this for a second. We beat ourselves up so easily. Like we're really hard on ourselves, right? Sometimes we may say terrible things to us, like, I'm no good. I wish I wasn't here. And the world would be better off without me. We say these awful things to ourselves. And what I want you to think about is would you treat the person that you love the most in this world the same way? How would you treat that person if they made a mistake, right? If they made an error? Would you treat them the same way that you treat yourself when you make a mistake? And usually these mistakes are minor, right? We just love to beat ourselves up, like drive ourselves into the ground and make our sack of shit heavier, right? We got to stop doing that. Treat yourself the way that you would treat the person that you love the most. By the way, that person who you love the most should be you. You need to learn to love yourself. That's hard for a lot of people. They all think that they got to love somebody else first. I completely disagree. You need to love yourself the most. That is going to allow you to serve other people. It's going to allow you to be a better spouse, a better husband, a better father, a better wife, a better brother, sister, just everything. If you focus on you as being, hey, I got to work on me first. Like I got to be the best version of myself possible. And you spend the most time with you than anybody else, you have to learn to love yourself. Okay. So work on that. Super important. The 6th strategy, which is kind of a bonus tip, but it's part of this process, is you can't give up. You can't quit. You got to be consistent. Even when you start reframing and changing your download and your operating system, you're going to have those moments where that little voice on the shoulder is going to show up. It still shows up for me. And it's going to show up for you again. But now you can handle them differently because you have these strategies that you can use to understand, okay, this is a self-limiting belief. This is just fear and doubt. I know how to handle this. It's not going to hold me back. And then you can continue to move forward. All right. Every successful entrepreneur, every successful person, every iconic person that you see on social media or the TV, they all started at 0. All of them. So if you're at 0 and you think that you're not going to get anywhere, they were there too. They believed in themselves, right? And they were consistent. It also takes time. This is not an overnight thing. So you have to give yourself a realistic timeline. You have to be consistent and you just have to be as resilient as you possibly can. And if you can do that, you're going to get to where you want to go. You're going to change your belief system. I asked you at the beginning of the episode, I said, what would it look like? Do you think it's possible that if you started today telling yourself a different story and do it consistently over a long period of time, that your belief system would be completely different. You would be going from I can't, or I'm not good enough, or I'm too old, or I don't have enough money to I am, I can, I will. Success is inevitable for me. Money does grow on trees. However, you want to spin it, you can tell yourself a different narrative. You can change your life. Those are the 6 steps. I want you to start practicing them today. I hope this episode serves you. Make it a great day.